Now, I don't see too many videos on Swipe, so I thought I'd do one myself, especially as it's a part of my portfolio and watch list. Although the reason I know that it's not so much of a hot topic is because of a few years ago, the developers did make a boatload of promises and they didn't fulfill on all of them, so that hurt their customer base. But there's still a few signs of life. One of those being, Binance did buy them up. I think it was last year sometime, in the last year, mid last year. But yeah, Binance bought them up or invested in them heavily, so there's some good signs of life there. But before I move on to the chart, there's some key fundamentals that I always have liked about this coin, and similar to a lot of other coins, which is its circulating supply. So for me, when it comes to like the main theory in terms of what I look for when spotting a new coin is linked to like diamond theory. So we know diamonds are expensive. The reason why, obviously, it's a little bit manipulated, but it's due to the perceived max supply of diamonds that we think is in the world. So you keep that number low and you just keep giving people little pieces of diamond, those little pieces are going to be worth a lot. Versus if there was, a boatload of diamonds, then the price is not really that high. So you're looking at coins that are in the billions, then the price, even though the coin may be good, the price is not going to go to, catastrophic levels because there's just so many of them. Everyone can hold a few. Whereas if there's only a few million, so at least say we've got just under 500 million, then we know that there's some potential growth similar to what you see in Solana, where there's I think 300 or so million of those coins, and you saw what that went to, around the same price, and that skyrocketed over the last year or so. So don't expect Swipe to do the same thing, but you never know. It's just one of those things. That's what I look for. Those are the coins I invest in. I look at the coins that have that low circulating or at least max supply if that's available, but that's not always out there, which it's a bit of a yellow flag, but a lot of coins don't have that. If I quickly look at Solana, yeah, look at that max supply, 300 mil, but was not always at $102. It started at 4 when we first was looking at this coin. So yeah, something to note. So on the monthly, we've kind of been a very congested over the last couple years. So we did have this nice big rise up, but then we immediately kind of just dropped down with like everything else in terms of the whole alt cap market. We just know that everything went up, shot up, and then dropped. So less of that. But what we do know is that the structure is bullish. So that's our kind of main sign. We don't want to break below this 40 cent range here. Any closes below there is pretty much a bad sign. Although we have, I'll zoom in a little bit. There we go. But these fractals here, we haven't closed below any of those as of yet. So this April month, that's going to be telling to see what we do. Are we going to continue this pattern of just dipping into this zone and then rising up, or are we going to finally break down this level and see if we can test the lows of this market structure here? So that's me for the month. Going to the weekly, so a bit of inverted head and shoulders. We've got our first peak here, and then a big high, and then we dropped. And this second shoulder did come up into a rather large supply zone, but we haven't really like in terms of coming all the way down and testing further zones or creating a downward trend, even though we've got significant or consistent, I would say, swing lows, swing highs that are just getting lower. So as we're moving down, we haven't really gone to any kind of scary levels. We've just flattened out as we keep coming down, and then we just stay flat, rise up a little bit, and then flat. So price is squeezing and kind of coiling up. And when that happens, there's going to be like a spring. And if we're in this demand zone and the monthly is on our side, then that spring's most likely going to be top side. But again, be aware that if we break it and close below this level, then we know it's going to be down. So those are our kind of ideas for the moment. Not much else on the monthly, on the weekly for me, apart from paying attention to these fractal levels that were once taken out. Just draw that here. So we had this first one, where there was a nice couple entries earlier this year, and you would have, captured most of this movement and then hopefully got out on the doji, which is symbolic across really all the coins at the moment, this weekly doji. But now we're coming right back into the zone again, so there may be some second buying opportunities, or we're gonna try and clip this money as we enter that demand zone, which for me would be a much nicer play because that kind of just shows that failing to close below this, price is just saying, yeah, no, it's too low. $1 is too much of a bargain. Everyone's going to want to get in, and there's going to be some potential entries with the backing of this monthly demand zone, as well as there's possibly some more weekly zones created. Even though we're in a weekly, I just don't really like this zone that much. I'm going to need to see more if there's going to be any plays to be made in this zone here. And that zone's created because you see how we've broken above this fractal level here. So we're creating a new little zone. But unless there's something in the daily that really shows me some strength, I'm not really going to be buying on that just yet. But you never know. You never know what can come. So on the daily, okay, we've got a potential range forming. We're coming back right into our kind of origin point where price just expanded, pulled out, broke the made new day levels at the time, and before then failing to close above this level here, this key one way back over here. You see, failed to close a couple times, and then we just capped it right down, and now we've entered our zones back again on the daily. So we're in a daily zone, but as I said before, I want to see, some failed swing lows within this area. So I'm gonna have to wait a couple of days before I really get involved in anything. This will most likely be moved down once we close. So the day is the 11th of April. So the day is the 11th of April. So depending on how we close here, we'll decide, if this moves down or if we get that failed swing low up here, which would be nice, but I don't see that happening today. But again, you never know. And then that would bring us most likely to a range. If I just bring it down there, just out the way, and then can grab this. There we go. All right, so that would bring us into a range that would look something like this. We haven't obviously got a bottom fractal made yet, so until that happens, it will be somewhere around here possibly, and then that will give us a little bit of a smaller range. But until then, I'm just going to leave those where they are. I don't have to change it too much. Okay, all right. But, but again, good to know on the daily. We had this downtrend formed, lows getting lower, and then we broke it right there. Keynote, keynote that we broke this level. Once we close above this, that downtrend is done. A new one could form, but at the same time, we know that this one is done. We're coming down. Are we going to break this? Are we going to break this low here? If not, then that's a good sign for continuation, and we can either test this daily supply again and go forward, or we break through it. I just moved on to the 4 hourly for a second. Not something I usually check unless you're really trying to refine. Well, when it comes to refining entries, do I really look at these? But as you can see, we have broken down a lot of structures here. So I'm just going to update that. Yeah, it'll get there. All right, so there's our 4 hour structure. Also very bearish. And if I just zoom back out so you can see the chart, very bearish downtrend. There's no other type of downtrend. It's always bearish, but yeah. So let me just get my brush. I want it to be green. Go. Yeah. There's our there's our swing. There's our little swings. All getting lower. Kind of consolidated here a bit, but yeah, I wouldn't really call this last one a swing. It's only got one. It's got two bars, but You see, you get the picture. We've come down, we've leveled out for a bit, and then we dropped again on that kind of staircase level movement. And we're back in this. I believe this is a 4 hour zone that I've drawn out quite some time ago. Yep, so this was a 4 hour zone that took us to the top side of that daily range. However, we're now back in it. I don't really like taking re-entries within the lower time frame zones. But again, this will be marrying up with a potential daily one. So let's see what can occur on that higher time frame. So that's all I've got for swipe. If you like what you're hearing, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Peace.